Freedom is rarely blocked by what feels painful. More often, it's blocked by what feels normal. Most of us assume that if something were truly limiting us, we would notice it, and we would notice it immediately. It would feel obvious, constraining, or even uncomfortable. But the most powerful cages don't feel like cages at all because they're familiar. They sound like thoughts you've heard for years. They feel the way things have always been. They blend so seamlessly into the daily life that you stop recognizing them as choices. This season of Must I Evolve begins with a simple realization. You can't leave a cage you don't know you're in. Welcome to Must I Evolve, a micro-learning experience where ancient wisdom meets the modern soul. I'm Andrew H. Housley, author, spiritual provocateur, and bodhisattva, doing my best to walk the middle path. This space, it's for the seeker, the skeptics, and those who feel the quiet pull for something deeper. Each episode is an opportunity, short, potent, and quietly disruptive. We explore Zen thought, spiritual lessons, personal transformation, and the subtle truths that shape us. Sometimes they appear as a question, sometimes a gentle nudge. Let's begin. Invisible cages are built from thoughts that go unquestioned, beliefs that quietly harden into boundaries, ideas you stopped examining because they felt settled. Phrases that we use a lot in our life, like, this is just who I am. This is how life works, and I don't really have a choice. At first, these are just thoughts. Over time, they become conclusions, and eventually, they start to shape our lives. And what's dangerous isn't that these thoughts exist, it's that they stop sounding like thoughts and they start sounding like facts. In Buddhism, there's a word for the moment when a thought catches hold and pulls us into habit. It's called shenpa. Shenpa is a hook. Think about like a fishing hook, if you will, or a sticky feeling that grabs you before you even realize what's happening. It's the urge to cling to comfort, the reflex to avoid discomfort, or a tightening that says, I need this, or I can't handle that. From this small hook, entire patterns can unfold. Overthinking, defensiveness, control, withdrawal. And most suffering doesn't begin with what happens, it begins with the moment we get hooked by it. Shenpa feels protective. It convinces us that staying within familiar limits keeps us safe. But over time, that protection can become a cage. The moment that you see that clearly, something begins to open. There's an old Zen tale that points directly to this. A Zen student goes to his master and says, Master, I feel trapped. My mind is restless. I meditate, but I feel no freedom, only frustration. The master thinks on it, takes the student to a small room with a sturdy wooden door, tells the student to go inside, and closes the door behind him. After a few minutes, the student calls out, Master, please let me out. And from the other side of the door, the master replies, Is the door locked? The student tries the handle, it turns easily, and the door opens. Embarrassed, the student steps out. The master then says, just like the door, your mind is not locked. You never tried the handle. That's how invisible cages work. We assume we're trapped, so we stop checking. We mistake habit for confinement, familiar tension for reality, unquestioned thoughts as truth. But awareness is the handle. The moment you notice the hook, it loosens. You don't have to get rid of the thought. You don't have to force the feeling away. You don't have to escape dramatically. You only have to notice what's happening. When you see a thought instead of obeying it, space suddenly begins to appear. When you feel the urge to cling or avoid and simply stay present, the pattern weakens. This is where freedom actually begins. Not with changing your life, not with fixing yourself, but seeing things clearly. The most limiting cages are invisible because they're reinforced by repetition, not force. Familiarity starts to feel like truth, and truth starts to feel permanent. But familiarity is not reality. And the moment you notice the difference, the door swings open. This season of Must I Evolve is about learning to notice those moments, the hooks, the habits, the quiet places where thoughts tighten into identity. Not to judge them, not to fight them, just to see them. Because the cage you can't see is the only one that can truly hold you. And when seeing it, you can already begin to start stepping out.